Rushton, Paray, Member of Parliament for Mayaro. First, let me say this is a very unfortunate event in terms of any type of oil spill, any type of disruption to the lives of people in any community. Now, that being said, is where do we go from here? I must say that, Heritage fell asleep a bit in terms of communication with my office over the last 7 days. I would have reached out sometime around the 12th to the 13th of February when the first information around the spill had happened. I went out and said, look, let me know what's happening, because if I am the conduit to the community, I must know what's happening. We'd be able to reach out. That didn't happen. I was offered an explanation, which I accepted. I understand there are some issues, and it happens. Okay, so that we are here today. Now, over the last 2 days, I have been in communication with a number of experts, a number of people within my own environment in terms of what are some of the impacts, and then having spoken to Bernadette yesterday morning and now listening to what Mr. Ferrier is saying, I think we are at a place where we can only talk about how do we go forward now. Mr. Ferrier raised some key long-term issues, which I think is absolutely important in terms of, farmers, our wildlife. These things are part of our how we earn a living in these rural communities. So we can't put it aside, right? In terms of what's happening to the wildlife, the flora, the fauna, the fish, you're coming down that river. Anything happens in the river ends up seawall, and that's a big tourism product for us. We are not there yet. Heritage should be given an opportunity to put a plan in place, and it must be communicated well. Now, based on the information that I understand, there are a few things that I would like to put into the public domain that I would like Heritage to address. Perhaps they are addressing it, and perhaps Mr. Callan could probably respond after. One, the key concern outside of money here is people's health and safety. Yes. That takes first priority, right? You can't put a cost on people's health and safety. Coming out of the conversations yesterday and this morning, I understand there has been some arrangement that not only is an ambulance being provided, there are some medics on site now today that will do some initial assessment, and if you are required to go to the health center or Mayaro district facility, provisions will be made for that. I think that is absolutely critical. What I need you to do is, as you go back into your homes, observe your children, the elderly folks in the area, come and let the folks know on the side that there may be an issue and get the process going. So that's the first thing. Secondly, the issue of the environment. I would probably really like, as I said, I have had no formal information coming to the MP's office. I would really like Heritage to get either the EMA or the Institute of Marine Affairs to tell us within 24, 48 hours what's the status of the air quality around us in writing, right? So saying it is one. Now, as I said, Mr. Khalil will advise whether these things are being done. I'll give an opportunity, but from my layman perspective, that to me is an important thing. Two, I would like a report from the IMA or the EMA about the condition of the water course, where a bit of the oil has gone in. I know there were some moves put in place to capture. What is the status of it as of today? What is the impact? Something in writing that all of us will be able to read and understand that this is the status. Is there a risk? Is there no risk? No, I am not a scientist. Many of you are not scientists. We may have to take the report at its word, but at least we'll have something from the experts say, well, look, it's a concern or it's not a concern at this time, or what is the way forward? So we're talking about the health and welfare of our people in the area. We've spoken about the air quality because you have to live here daily. Three, the issue of our river and water courses. The long-term thing now for me is, one, what's the time frame? How long is this cleanup going to take? Is there 10 barrels of oil? It's going to take 5 more days. Is there 100 barrels? It's going to take 10 days. Is there 10,000 barrels? It's going to take a half a year. We must know a bit what is the time frame, because we are being inconvenienced a bit as well. But if we know what is the time frame, we will adjust, because the incident has happened. We can't reverse it. We only have to go forward. And if we can understand a bit, well, look, this is what's happening. There's a lot of activities are happening. I am positively sure that it is not in Heritage's interest to stay here for 5 years. In terms of a cleanup, it is not in their interest for these emissions to continue hampering people's daily lives. So I do not believe for 1 minute that it is Heritage's business not to work and work hard at it. But we must get the assurance from them that they are working on it. These matters are important to the villagers and they will be addressing it. And I think if we can get that as the low-hanging fruit, the short-term areas, to make sure the immediate impact can be managed, I think we'll be in a good place. And as the village council sit with the management of Heritage, in terms of the medium term and the long term, how do we prevent this from happening? What is the quality of our pipelines that traverse through our community? We have been an oil community for the last 100 years. We have infrastructure inside here. What is being done to make sure that 6 months from today, we're not in the back somewhere else going through the same thing again? We need to ask, and if there is nothing in place, they need to start putting these things progressively. It's not something that will happen overnight, but they must have a plan in place, and not only for Heritage. We have so many small oil operators who are operating pipes, they are operating these transportation facilities. This must be a lesson learned for the industry to make sure we don't come back this way again. All right, so the 2 or 3 items that I call, I probably ask Mr. Calder to just address and see, what is being done in that particular area.